Hey, what's up guys? In this video, let's take a look at all the new and recently updated radar detectors. Now, the last time I did a video like this was back in May, and since then, a bunch has happened. We've had a couple new radar detectors be released, we've had a number of different firmware updates for existing radar detectors. COVID has gone and messed things up some more with different supply chain issues and part shortages and detectors going on back order and becoming unavailable and prices going up due to costs going up. Like, there's been a bunch of stuff that's happened. And so in this video, let's go ahead and kind of go over everything we've seen over the past couple months, especially including all of the brand new and recently updated radar detectors. Now to start us off, let's go ahead and begin with the Radenso DS1. This is a brand new radar detector from Radenso that's essentially a souped up Uniden R3. In fact, it's based on the same platform as the R3, but it adds an upgraded magnesium alloy horn. Plus, you've got a bunch of nice new features, including an upgraded design, even longer range, auto lockouts, better BSM filtering, a trick new magnetic mount, Bluetooth, an open API, etc. There's a lot of improvements here over the Uniden R3. Now, over the past couple weeks, there's been a bunch more testing that's been done with the DS1. I, in fact, even bought a second DS1 to test alongside my manufacturer-supplied one. And looking over a bunch of different tests that we've been seeing over the past couple weeks. In short, the results will vary, of course, from one test to another, but overall, the DS1 seems to be a consistently strong performer. In fact, based on the performance that I'm seeing, and especially all the different features that it offers, in my opinion, I think it's the best radar detector that you can get under $400. Now, when the detector was first launched, it actually sold out in under 20 minutes off of Radenso's website. It was also available for a little while on Best Buy's website, but it's since sold out there as well. And due to component shortages, they haven't been able to get more, so it's been sold out for a little while now. Good detector, but you can't really buy them anymore, so I guess the story with the Radenso DS1. Now, in the meantime, people have been playing and kind of developing custom mounts. I've talked about some of them in previous videos. I know Obeer1 Kenobi has actually been custom building his own magnetic mount, and this one is really, really cool. If you haven't checked out his videos yet, I'll link to those down in the video description too. Definitely check those out. This is pretty awesome, what he's been working on here for the DS1. Then moving on to Theia. Everybody's wondering, when is Theia going to come out? It seems like Radenso still doesn't know, and they're saying, well, I guess once this supply shortage ends and they're able to get parts again, that's when it's going to come out. They have since posted a photo of Theia's internals on their website, so we can finally take a look at what it's going to look like, but no word on when they're going to be able to produce a bunch more so that we can all buy it. So yeah, we're all still waiting now for Theia. And then as far as the Radenso RCM, that's still available on their website. Pricing has since gone up on the RCM, again due to increased costs. It used to retail for $1849, and the new price is now $20.99, so it's actually gone up $150, again due to their costs going up. Next, moving on to Escort. Let's start by talking about their brand new radar detector / dash cam combo. It's the Escort MaxCam 360C. It's loosely based on the Escort Max 360C, but it's got an upgraded platform under the hood for improved performance and fewer false alerts. Plus, they've added a dash cam here to the side. It's a Quad HD 1440p dash cam, so you've got a radar detector and dash cam combo. Now, I've been testing it out the past couple days or so, and I've run across a number of issues testing it initially that I've reported to Escort, but overall, I think I'm actually liking this new detector. It's got a nice set of features. The BSM filtering seems to be really good, and the dash cam quality seems to be pretty good as well. I also like the fact that it now integrates your radar information, like your band and your frequency, directly into the dash cam footage. It's the first time that I've seen this out of any radar detector and dash cam combo. And this new MaxCam 360C so far definitely seems better than some of the other options like Escort's radar detectors with the add-on Escort M1 or M2 dash cams, or the Cobra Road Scout. Though that makes sense given the price point here. It's $849, so $849 for this new MaxCam 360. It's expensive, twice the price of the Road Scout. But if you're looking for a good radar detector and a good dash cam, again, I still have a lot more testing to do, but it's seeming like a very promising option here. And if that's something you're interested in, I've got a link in the video description to where you can pick one up. They're available now on Escort's website, and they are shipping now. Next, let's take a look at the Escort Redline 360C. This has had a firmware update, firmware version 1.9 for the North American version, or 1.3 for the international version. And according to Escort, there's two changes here. Number one, they're saying there's improved reaction in a strong signal environment, as well as improved CAS filtering, or improved BSM filtering. Now, I've done some testing, kind of some instant-on response time testing with the Redline 360C with firmware version 1.9. I didn't see any improvements there, but it's quite possible that maybe they updated something else other than what I was testing for. Either way, I'm definitely grateful to see some improvements nonetheless, especially some improvements to the blind spot filtering. The full discussion, of course, like everything else, you can find on the forums. Additionally, the detector itself, it's almost always on back order, again, with just part shortage issues. Something interesting I noticed while getting ready to shoot this video, I also noticed it on their website. They're having so much difficulty getting the detectors that they've actually stopped accepting back orders at all. Now, instead of just placing a back order, you'll see there's an option to where you can get notified from when they have detectors in the first place. And so apparently, yeah, even they've got so many back orders now that they've even stopped accepting back orders. So I haven't seen that before with some of the Escort detectors, so that's pretty interesting. Next, taking a look at the Escort Shifter Max, some of their different laser jammer options. They've got some improvements available for the different laser jammers. Firmware versions 2.12 or 1.12 for the different Shifter Max options, depending on what hardware version you have. Now, I was actually really excited to see some firmware updates finally coming out for Escort's laser jammers, but unfortunately, none of us have been able to actually update our laser jammers to test it out and report what the improvements are. They're saying there's 3 different improvements. Number 1, they're saying that there's some improved performance for the rear laser jammers. Number 2, they've fixed a laser gun identification bug. And number 3, we've got some improved overall jamming performance. Again, though, when the firmware update came out, we all tried updating our laser jammers, and none of us have been able to do it. So again, there's no test results to verify kind of what these improvements are like. And then finally, as far as the Max Ci itself, the Max Ci 360, that's been on back order for a while. Escort's having issues actually getting the components for those too, and so I know a lot of dealers are actually having issues getting the Max Ci's in the first place. Next, let's move on and talk about the Uniden R7. So since the last time we did a video, this was back in May, Uniden has released firmware version 1.37 for the R7. And firmware 1.37 has a number of different improvements, things like improving the arrows of the detector, improving the auto lockouts, the MRCD detection, and the K-bogey tone. I've got a bunch more information and detail about it if you'd want to check that out, but in short, there's a number of nice improvements here for the R7. There's still some complaints that people have and some further improvements that I would definitely like to see, but we've got some improvements here with 1.37. Now, since then, Uniden has, well, I guess like a lot of the other manufacturers, they've had issues sourcing a lot of the components that they need to continue building R7s, and so for that reason, they've actually started switching some of the components inside the R7s, and so now new versions of the R7s that you're going to be buying online actually have different hardware under the hood. There's no changes that actually affect performance or features or anything. It's just for things like the voice controller, a different GPS chip, stuff like that. All the RF stuff, the antennas, all that stuff is actually exactly the same. Now, to go along with the new hardware, there's also a new software update that comes with the detector. It's firmware version 1.40. It's functionally identical to firmware version 1.37 for the older version of the R7s, and so they just have a similar firmware update that all it does is basically add compatibility for the new hardware components. But again, otherwise, features and performance are exactly the same as what we had with the older R7s, the original ones running firmware 1.37. And then as a quick bonus, speaking of kind of magnetic mounts that people are building, there's actually some pretty cool magnetic mounts that R.W. Smith 123 is working on for his Uniden R7 as well. It's based on the same design of what he was doing for the Radenso DS1, and it looks like he's kind of working on a similar design here for the Uniden R7. So cool stuff coming out that different enthusiasts are actually creating online. So that's pretty cool to see as well. Next, Stinger is releasing a new radar detector that they're calling the S850. This features an all-new design, apparently much better performance, and much better BSM filtering. And based on some of the initial impressions that people are reporting so far, it looks like the BSM filtering is actually really good here with the new S850. Now, Stinger is having issues sourcing a bunch of detectors. They're going to be sending me one out pretty soon. They've been having issues getting one, but I should be able to get one here in soon. Hopefully it'll be in time for me to test and review. At this point, I'm kind of doubtful considering my second baby is coming pretty soon, so I'm not sure I'm actually going to have time to get it installed and do some testing and review, but hopefully I'll be able to get that done in time. Either way, yeah, there's the new S850, and it looks like it's, well, Stinger's new system, and apparently it's going to be a lot better than some of the previous generation stuff. Next, let's talk about the AntiLaser Priority, the laser jammers. Now, the first thing to talk about is ALP has since released some upgraded TX heads, or the TX Black sensors. Now, the TX Black sensors have a number of different improvements. Number one, ALP is saying they offer a 50% improvement when it comes to jamming the Dragon Eye. Number two, they're also saying that they improved jamming capabilities while dealing with reflections off of different things around you. Plus, in testing, we're also seeing some improvement with people who've got these TX sensors installed on low front-end cars like your 911s or your Corvettes. Typically, with the previous generation of TX heads, they had to be installed at least 20 inches off the ground, which kind of limited the installation capabilities on cars cars with really low front ends. In testing so far, it seems like that's actually doing better with cars that have really low front ends. And so we still need to do more testing, of course, but so far the initial results are actually looking pretty good. And so you can get away with installing maybe 2 regular heads plus a TX head like this if you have a car with a low front end. Now, the previous generation TX heads had a green or blue piece of plastic on the back. These new ones actually have black here, hence the name black. That's how you tell the difference. And these new TX black heads, they do work differently than the older TX blue and green heads. And so they're not compatible if you've got the blue or the green ones installed in your car. And so for that reason, if you've got those, you're going to need to uninstall those and upgrade both of them. If you're running 2, for example, that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm actually going to be getting this installed in my car. I've got my second one over there. You're going to need to go ahead and remove your old ones and install these new ones. Now, ALP is saying that most people don't actually need to do this upgrade. This is primarily geared towards people who were using some of the 2017 TX heads. There were some issues there, and so they kind of upgraded some of the stuff under the hood. Plus, there are some improvements here, drag and eye jamming, low installation, things like that. So there are some improvements, but it's not like everybody necessarily needs to upgrade if you're running the previous generation TX heads. But that's the story with that. For more information about those, again, just like everything else, I'll have links in the video description so you can read up and learn more about them. Next, as far as another custom thing for the ALP and the NetRadar DSP that enthusiasts have been creating, Flonase on RDF has actually been building a custom display for the ALP. It basically gives you your status information, it gives you your radar and laser alert info displayed on a screen if you want a dedicated visual display as well, in addition to the audio stuff or the Bluetooth display on your phone. Now, this is definitely a DIY thing, and so if you're comfortable working with Arduino, for example, you can actually download the source code and create your own custom ALP display for your car as well, if you like. The source code and the tutorial and demo videos and all that stuff, again, will be available online. And then finally, as far as pricing for the ALP, that has been going up as well. ALP has been having difficulties actually sourcing some of their components, and this has been leading to higher prices. They've actually detailed some of the information about this on the forum if you'd like to check it out. But in short, as far as what that means for the pricing of the ALP, that has been going up. So for example, kind of your starting price for the ALP, say just an ALP with a set of 2 heads up front that used to retail for $839, that price has now gone up to $1,009, so it's increased by $170. Similarly, if you'd like to go for a fully loaded ALP, so think 2 regular heads plus a TX head up front, same thing for the rear, plus your Bluetooth and your Hi-Fi module, that package used to retail for $2239, but now if you go look on ALP's website, the exact same package retails for $2639, an increase of $400. Now, with the price increases of the ALP, that I guess makes the TMG kind of one of your more affordable options more appealing. It's not as good as the ALP, but it's going to be a less expensive option. Plus, it's got things like your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi, or not your Wi-Fi, your speaker actually built directly into it, so you don't have to buy those as optional extras. If we were to do just a quick price comparison between a TMG versus an ALP, a triple TMG setup, so 2 regular heads plus a VPR head in the center, that retails for $749. A comparably equipped ALP system with 2 regular heads and a TX plus Bluetooth and Hi-Fi, that's going to retail for $1639, which is an increase of $890, so literally more than twice the price of a comparably equipped TMG. And so personally, I still prefer the ALP, of course, but if you're going for a new system, again, the TMG is not as good as the ALP, but the price difference is increasing now. And then as far as the TMG itself, we've got a couple improvements there as well. First, we've got a set of Generation 3 heads, Gen 3 heads, which TMG says is offering a 30% improvement in sensitivity, which is nice because TMG heads on their own are not particularly sensitive, at least compared to your ALPs and your Escorts and whatnot, so it is nice to see an improvement in sensitivity for the TMG heads. Additionally, there's also been a software update, Control Firmware 1.04 for the TMGs. Now, this update is primarily for your JBV1 compatibility. They've added a feature for JBV1 where the TMG now outputs signals for when the auto sleep feature starts and stops, just per John Boy's request, so making it a little bit easier for him to integrate and interface his JBV1 app with the TMG. And so some updates here for the TMG as well. And so yeah, that's a run through of everything that we've seen over the past couple months. We've had a number of new detectors that have been released, like the Radenso DS1 or the Escort MaxCam. We've had some firmware updates for a number of different radar detectors. We've got component shortages and detectors going out of stock and becoming unavailable, or prices going up. So like things have been kind of wild the past couple months. And this is kind of a run through of some of the stuff that we've been seeing. And so yeah, for more information about any of the stuff that we've talked about, if you want to learn more about it, if you want to purchase any of the detectors, you want to download any of the updates, anything like that, I'll have a huge list of additional information and links for you down in the video description, as always. And so, yeah, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.